Yeah, I mean, there is an issue, right? We're not saying that there's not an issue with social media. Sure, there's an awful lot of disinformation, misinformation, deliberate lies, quite complex conspiracies, like, for instance, the Donald Trump Russia nonsense, which we're hearing about now in the US. But the point is, how do you deal with this? I think I'm with you. I'm very uncomfortable about the idea that government should put itself up as the body that actually monitors or polices this. That takes us down some very difficult paths, I think.
It does, and it really is only one step removed from a ministry of truth, which, in effect, we've seen in other parts of the world already developing in places like New Zealand and Canada, I think, have started down that path. And this is a very, very dangerous way to go when you've got government being the arbiters of truth. And that's the kind of language we heard during COVID. And now we're starting to learn that there were mechanisms in place to enforce that. I mean, it was tried to be characterised yesterday as being all very innocent and very trivial and very procedural. But I don't see it that way at all. I think this is a real scandal and a real problem.
Yeah, so I think the response, see if you disagree with me, we've got to revisit this legislation. We've got to revisit the anti-terrorism legislation, and clearly it has to be revised or redrawn to keep it for what it was intended for and nothing more, right?
Yeah, look, I think that's right. I just don't like the idea of any government department censoring free speech any more than is absolutely necessary. But we all accept that freedom of speech is not a finite concept and that there always have to be limits. You can't have people walking around calling for people to be killed or terrorism and all those sorts of things. But that's the problem here, is who draws the line and on what terms. And I think this is a problem that politics hasn't grappled with yet, which is exactly why we needed the Senate in the last term to delve into it, and we'd be miles ahead of the curve now. But there's a lot of work to do on this. And look, this is different to the era where we had media ownership laws on domestic newspapers. These are big multinational companies. So bringing them to heel and making them stand for freedom of speech is a real challenge.